I can't believe this. Guys, I just made a big mistake. I told Christian that I was rolling, and I wasn't rolling.
Boo.
And now I am rolling.
Unforgivable.
And now, here we go. Welcome back to the Corridor Digital Podcast, everybody. Episode 140. Man, there's been more people watching than normally recently. And I got to say, welcome to anybody who's new, or if you've already been subscribed, but you just want to hear more about the software and tech talk, then, well, I'm just glad that people are tuning in. So welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a great day.
Wow.
Who do we have today? We've got Sam Gorski,
What
the one and only.
in the flesh.
In
That's
the
right.
flesh.
Yeah, here I am on my phone doing God's work.
We can
doing
poke 'em.
God's work. We got Matt Cairns.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm here too. I haven't been on a podcast in a while, and it's because I've been in the trenches on something very special.
Yep,
The
we pulled him
damn
out.
trenches.
And today's
And,
a very special day, actually. I'm kind of riding a little bit of a high. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about his
How
high
are
in a
you?
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very specific type of
Very
drug.
s- It's a yeah.
And Jordan
I'm on
Allen.
drugs. I am
Jordan
on
Allen
drugs.
is here.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Jordan Allen.
It's an honor.
Beans, aka
Beans.
Beans.
See, this is a fallacy, all right? Because Beans, my name is not Beans. Jordan Coleman's name is Beans. Okay, I won it fair and
Well.
square. All right, I won it fair and square, and I feel like contractually, you guys are obligated to refer to her as Beans.
That's
Fair
fine.
and square
But
in a game
the
of
first time we met you-
Smash that
Hold on.
she was
The first
obviously
time we were in the
undermatched
studio,
against you
we were
on.
called
I don't know if
Beans.
that's fair and square.
Kind of sticks.
But
Yeah, it
listen,
does stick, doesn't it?
listen, here
Beans
we
tend
are
to do
anyway.
that.
Just like them sticky beans.
Yep.
So Sam has a prompt. Matt has a high that he was just on that he needs to get off his chest. So
I have
what do we want to
sticky
start
beans.
It
with?
also has to do with the prompt. Honestly, I want to see what this prompt.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
I think I'm going to get a second high.
I
from
don't know
this.
how this happened, but somehow someone said that Scottish people are thieves at some point, and then
At some point.
Matt
Yes.
revealed to us his Scottish heritage, which
Yes.
is obvious because your last name
Yeah.
means rocks.
Rocks.
Mm,
Karen.
stone,
Karen's
stone.
a Karen.
Yeah.
And your pockets
Karen.
are full of jewels.
Yes.
So I'm asking Midjourney to do a oil painting of a Scottish rock thief,
Rock.
which is technically one of your ancestors.
Oh, it looks just
potentially.
like me.
So look, they are stealing rocks. I don't know which one you. This one's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
These two as well.
Wow.
He's covering
Ooh,
it with he's covering it with like a plaid
He's covering
kilt.
it with his. He's hiding in his kilt.
But these two I think are the best.
Oh my God.
These are pretty
They're
good.
They're so
Quality-
artistic.
The quality is so impressive.
It's the lighting looks gorgeous. How do we show the people this?
Can we talk? I also have some Scottish heritage. My last
yeah?
name is also it's Scotch Irish. Yes. Which I
Watson.
don't know. There's a couple
Watson.
things we could discuss here. Okay. There's the whole Karens thing.
Yes.
Like what is it? What is a Karen?
Yeah, it's
then-
well,
It's a
it's
good
not
question.
just rocks. They're special
Why-
rocks.
Yeah. They are special.
They're
rocks.
minerals. No, they're rocks, but they the Scottish folk they used to bury their dead because of the land, the fact that it was hard to really get your dead buried 6 feet under properly.
Mhm.
So to protect your dead and your loved ones that have been deceased, they bury them as far as down as they can go, and then they pile rocks on top to protect them. And that just kind of has become the cultural thing over there.
He must have been a Highlander then.
a Highlander indeed, yeah.
And then if
Yeah.
a middle-aged woman ever complains about you digging, that is also a Karen,
Yes,
but a different kind.
a different kind of Karen. You're digging too close to my property.
That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
They also were used to mark like turns in trails and things like that, and in roads,
Yes.
as far as I understand it. Yeah, and then we can talk about Scott and Lot, the whole phrase "scot free." But a quick tad on Scotch Irish people. Many people don't know. They were the first Irish people to, sort of come to America. And when they arrived in the 1700s or so, they were known as the Irish because they came from Northern Ireland. But then when the Irish Catholics came, they felt the need to differentiate from such, rabble, and they came up with the phrase Scotch Irish, which is
Wow.
a particularly American reference to people
Wow.
that lived in Northern Ireland, were loyal to the crown, and then came to America.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And more Scottish facts. Scott free.
Stop.
No, that's what the people
I'm
want.
just gonna keep going.
No,
Sam.
no,
Come
no.
on.
Have you guys seen On Cinema at the cinema?
He's stopping
It
me.
reminds me.
Sam's
I'm
stopping
kind
me.
of getting Greg
Yeah,
vibes right now. No, but it's all about like taking one thing someone says, and then just going as deep as possible until it no longer becomes relevant. No, but it's really good.
Welcome to the CorridorCast,
No,
everybody.
it's great.
Welcome to it.
I freaking love it.
One more fact.
One
All right,
more fact.
scot-free. So you may have heard this phrase, he got away scot-free. Okay? So that
I've always
actually
wondered.
refers to Scott and Lot,
Yes.
which was the type of tax, I believe. It was a certain type of tax, Scott and Lot, that was supposed to be paid on certain items, and when you got away scot-free, you didn't owe any tax. That's what
Oh.
it means.
Wow.
I used
Damn.
to think it was because everything was free for a Scotsman.
Or it was like
Well,
Because
Rockstar.
they
No.
steal.
as free as a Scot.
Everything's free if your kilt's big enough.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's another misconception about Irish people. Irish people don't wear kilts.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
and a
just
lot of people
squat
don't know
over
this,
it.
that,
Squat over
that
it.
aren't
Slowly
European.
freaking
But-
inch your way.
press it between your thighs
Strong glutes, and you can
and
take
then you waddle
anything.
out of there.
Crab walk out.
That's also why they have power thighs. Yeah. That's
That is
true.
why they have power
True
thighs.
history. Yeah.
Oh man,
That's
Oh,
beautiful.
wow.
Wow.
Good facts.
Anyway,
so
well,
how did we start on this?
well, so there's this new thing that y'all have been toying around
We
with.
talked
here.
about it last time, Midjourney.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Midjourney was talked about.
But
Okay.
I haven't messed with it until just moments ago, but I've been
Oh, wow.
dying to. But like we followed up on some of our ideas from last time. We did the Iron Man Titanic mashup. That it's like in the future you want to watch something, and you just tell your computer a prompt sentence, and it'll generate an entire film
Oh, yeah.
of
Oh,
exactly
man,
what you
yeah.
want to see.
Yes.
And so this
Mhm.
guy on the Midjourney Discord, who I think he's friends with Ren, basically he just ran that prompt to just see what happens, and it looks like terrible fan art, but it's like really great at the same time, because it shows you, it's like, oh yeah, there you go, that's our fan film of Iron Man Titanic.
Was it actually video or was it
no, it's
just images?
he just did like the demo images of it to like
I love the heart one.
the Iron Man.
The heart
Yeah,
Iron
it's
Man.
like it's like Jack and Rose in Iron Man costumes kissing on the deck of the Titanic.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they really captured the love story element of the Titanic and put it right in Iron Man's little glowy bits.
Dude, that is an interesting precipice upon which we stand, though. Is like we're like how close to being able to prompt an AI to give you a movie. As soon as there's the bandwidth and storage capacity for that, I mean, that's going to happen.
I know. That's like all the environmentalists will be like, you guys, you got to
You're using
recycle
way
these
too
prompts.
To recycle
Way
these
too much
prompts.
Recycle
storage
these prompts,
space.
okay? The
Yeah.
amount of processing
It'll be-
power.
Yeah.
It'll
Watch
be
your
like
stupid math
blockchain all
movies.
over again, just with people generating their own movies.
Yeah, well,
Man.
Matt, I'll send you these two Scottish rock thieves.
Please do. It's going to be my new profile picture.
I'm going to. I don't know which one do you. So which one do you like more? Do you like this one where it's a man counting stones on this in this?
It looks like he has
In the
like
Highlands?
4 hands.
He might have 4 hands.
Oh, for
And then this is the
maximum
other-
stealing.
This is the other one.
Oh, I
think.
like this one a lot.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I'll make this one.
Throw that on your Tinder.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the
I
new
will
Tinder.
provide for you.
All right. We'll process that one, and then
I got
boom.
plenty of stones.
If anyone else wants like a classy stereotype of themselves, let me know.
It
Yeah.
only generates.
Yeah, actually,
stereotypes.
Sam,
only
can you
generates
can you give
stereotypes.
me something? Can
Yeah,
you
what
give
do
me can you give me a classy rendering?
Okay. Only if it's like slightly
Offensive.
self-deprecating.
Okay, yeah. How about a well, you already did Robin Scotsman.
Yes. Yes.
So, how about a murderous Scotsman? How about that?
A murderous Scotsman.
Murderous
Yeah,
Scotsman.
see what it
That's
gives you.
self-deprecating.
Very
Have you killed
that's
someone,
very
Jake?
Yeah, have you
No,
Is this a
I don't
confession
know.
or
I'm
some
just
story?
going off the cuff here. I apologize.
How about he wants to be a murderous Scotsman, but
There you go. Yeah,
But he's, too much of
attempted.
a wuss.
Yeah, too much of
Like,
a wuss to
I
actually go through
instantly.
with it.
I mean, I'm not explaining you,
Uh,
but I'm just saying to take this character and really give it some depth.
Right.
You know, it's the
I
internal
like
struggle.
that. Yeah, let's go with this.
All right. Well, we'll circle back in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that.
a murder ambitious Scotsman?
Yes.
He's-
What other weird AI tools do you have, Sam?
At my disposal,
Yeah.
not that many. Everything is publicly released at this point. We've made videos about every AI thing we have in house at this point.
Yes, we have. One other thing that we haven't gotten to yet is Matt Cairns' High on Life story.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what I'm dying to know.
It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you gotta hit him with the thumbnail first, to really pull him in.
Keep the title in mind.
That was the
Good.
keeping the title in mind kind of situation.
Hook him
over
with
here.
the thumb, keep him for the story. Right,
Well, because
got it.
dude, it's like we submitted to our show to Netflix, our first episode, and they just got
Yes,
back
we
to us
did.
today.
Yes, and they're pretty amped on it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they couldn't be.
And
Honestly,
but at the same time, you never really know, especially when doing client work, what the result is going to be, what the reaction is going to be. You can do as much pre-production with them and set up what it's going to be, what the show is going to be, how it's going to look. But none of that really matters until you actually deliver it. And, you never really know. Are they going to like it? Are they going to hate it? What wall of notes are you going to get? But can I read it? Can I just read the little?
Yeah, read maybe
just one. Just
what
the
you think you
first
can.
sentence.
Yeah.
Just the first line. So they got back
Okay.
to us, and right away it was
what
this-
the hell?
this edit is the worst thing I've ever seen. Scrap it all and
Delete this.
reshoot everything. No, they said this Cobra Kai edit is incredible, very compelling. We're so happy with how it turned out. And that was the
Heck
first
yeah.
That's lovely.
sentence. And that, as soon as I read it, I was like, yes, we did it.
That is yes.
It
That is
felt
what you want.
it was
because-
such a relief to
Is
get that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, because not to I don't want to go too in depth on this
Yeah.
statement, but it's like Netflix, a corporate client,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're also not, because
They're still
they're literally making
Yeah.
films and shows and stuff too. So
Sure.
it's that weird middle ground of like, are you expecting the hammer,
Mhm.
or are you expecting some people to be like, dope, cool
Yeah.
video?
And it
you
could
know?
have gone either way, but we
No, their team over there that we've been working with is really cool. I've been really like they get it. They get like how things get made, and it's. I think Sam, you're probably right. Like you're not making like a product for some other company that doesn't ever deal in video production
Exactly,
or
'cause-
video product. So they are a lot more in tune with how this stuff works. And I think that helps honestly make better stuff overall. And,
Exactly,
and just
because
that
generally,
team in
in the
particular has
past,
been really
these
nice.
types of projects are usually with non-filmmaking entities, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're like maybe
Yeah.
they're creative in some other space, but yeah, it's not that realm. But yeah, that's great. That's dope. Well,
And
congratulations.
so when
to all of us, really.
all the
I mean,
fear of
yeah.
rejection,
yeah,
it's like oh,
yeah.
it's behind us.
Mhm.
We at least got that first stage of it past us.
Yeah.
and, and
we
feels
got
good.
invited on a second date.
Yeah,
But you've set the bar high now, so that's the thing.
it's true. But
Moving into date 2.
we got a lot of good episodes so ahead of us. So
I like that
I think
confidence. Looks good on you.
I think they'll like
For
what they're
people
gonna
who
get.
don't know, though, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of professionals out there who understand what it's like to deliver a product into the void of what is the client, so to speak. But it is like you're delivering it. You spend all this time, you try to make like the best thing you can, and then you submit it into this black void, and you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and certainly like the clients I've had over the many years of doing this, it's been the other way around, where it's like you work so hard to try to help them understand your own vision, and you sell them on the vision, and then you deliver the vision, and they're like, "This is not it at all. I want something completely different." It's like that's like the worst feeling ever when it makes you feel like you're bad at your job, at
It's
first.
funny. I have a story about that. When we were, we shot this bit with Black Rifle Coffee like 2 years ago. That was called Star Spangled Steel, which is just basically, you helped me with this, Matt.
Yeah, I did. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, and it's basically this bit where Matt and Evan like play the Star Spangled Banner with keys, like targets that would, when you would hit them, they would ping in a different key. So they went through and they played the song using these 9mm that they had, and it was like this really cool thing. It was fun. We had the whole vision, and like Matt, you helped me deliver on it. And then I delivered it, and Matt calls me up and he's like, "Hey, this, I don't know how we got to this, but this is not what we had talked about." And I was just like silent for a second, and I just go, "Okay, well, why don't you tell me what we talked about?"
Yeah.
And then he just bursts out laughing, and they were just messing with me.
Oh.
And they were like, "No, this is amazing.
Those
This is amazing.
bastards.
This is so cool. We love it." And oh man, but it was that moment where I was like, "Oh man, I really hope they like this." Spent a whole bunch of time and heart on it, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
they
funny.
got
So
me good.
funny.
Yeah, that's kind of the scary thing, is that you need to take it to a certain point creatively for them to understand it and get it. But that
Yeah.
extra effort is often where you spend so much time risking it. There's no in between. You kind of need to do that. So
Yeah.
you did the whole entire cut
Yeah.
pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the first viewing.
Yeah. So
Pretty
there's
scary.
a lot of pressure. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure.
Sam just sent me the AI image.
This is
Oh my
Jake.
God, dude.
It's terrifying.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
dude.
his nose
So
is bleeding.
bloody.
That's
How
yeah,
can we get this? How can we get this on
That is-
the people
can-
that are
can
watching?
we, like, link
oh
it
my
on the-
God.
If you're watching the video, you can see a blurry version of.
Would it be
Christian,
this
maybe you can put this in the edit.
Oh yeah, you
one?
could.
Maybe, yeah. Can you see that?
It's like some cross-eyed, insane person with like looks like they had just eaten a,
Show the Scotsman
a
one too.
bloody heart.
Although,
Dude,
like,
maybe
yeah, if you just
I-
want to link it, yeah, or whatever.
Maybe I take back what I said about what I wanted to see. I take it back.
I'm trying to think how
It's
it
too
was
real.
how it was making sense of the idea of wanting to murder. So he just like gives himself a bloody nose. It's like a step in the right direction.
Or it was more like an attempted murder kind of thing. Like I tried to murder someone, but I'm such a wuss that it didn't work.
He couldn't fit. And I was all
Oh my
frustrated.
God.
They punched me in the mouth, and I
They
cowered and ran
punched me
away.
and I said sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Oh my God.
And then on my way out, I got hit in the head with an anvil.
Yeah.
My God. Do y'all have any
That's
like?
what it looks like.
Do y'all have any good like horror stories from clients? If you
I-
can be
oh.
vague enough.
I
That
actually,
would be fun.
yeah, I have
I
one
have
as
a good
well.
one. I have a
Do
wild
I?
one actually.
Lay it down.
No. Oh, we'll get to
I will
it.
not tell
I
you.
can't.
Yeah, Jordan, you worked in the client world for some time. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, I learned a very hard lesson at an early age. And this is when me and my directing partner, Luke, were doing a lot of commercial work. And we had bid out on this. It was like a contest site called Tongle. And you basically pitch for the client. Tongle are the intermediary. And then you go ahead and make the content. And then it's like a contest format. Well, they'll kind of rank you, but they'll give you money up front to actually make the stuff. So we did our whole pitch video, and we were really selling them on, the series of 6 shaving videos and saying, men just want to hear it direct, how to shave yourself in your nether regions and how to shave your head, like real heart to heart, man to man stuff. So we pitched like this sincere thing. And then when it came to writing, I just wasn't capable of writing anything sincere about that. And so we just made it a comedy, 6 comedic videos. And we spent so much time on it, shooting, locations, editorial, visual effects, all this stuff, and submitted it. And I'll be honest, in the process of making it, I completely forgot the creative we promised. I was in a different place entirely.
Oh,
This
no.
was the opposite of what we said. We were not being sincere at all. And I submit the 6 videos with a smile on my face. And we get this very stern email back basically saying, "What is this? What have you done? Do it again." They literally just said, "Do it again."
Do it again.
So,
Do it again.
yeah, we went back and we watched the pitch video, and I got to take the blame 100%. We did not deliver what we said we
Yeah,
would.
that's
out
kind
of
of an
pocket, yeah.
important piece. The
Super
overall
important.
tone of the video being
just-
a comedy
man.
versus a sincere heart to heart.
When a man is talking about shaving his groin sincerely, it's just uncomfortable. Nobody wants that.
You don't.
know?
Well,
really
why?
don't.
They should have red flagged that and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
that's going to be an uncomfortable advertisement
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah, we went the extra mile and we recast the whole thing, rewrote the whole thing, we reshot it, recut it,
Oh,
everything
man.
from the ground up,
Oof.
and they still gave us last place. So like,
Oh.
just to
Brutal.
insult,
That's so funny.
it was horrific. So
That's so
Gillette,
funny.
Oh,
you know,
man.
It's like a bad dream,
Yeah.
Like sometimes where you have those bad dreams of like being in a situation and not realizing how you got there, But like sometimes you make a video and you watch it and you're like, what did I made that? Like what happened? Like
Yeah.
where was I this whole time?
Especially in retrospect, like looking back on it for like a couple of months later or something, like it just gets to the point where like, who made this?
you're so close to it in the moment that
Yeah.
you lose all track of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is gonna make sense.
This will work. This will work.
Like
out.
I get this, and you watch it,
It'll
and it's
work.
like what?
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, you
That's
just
so
get
funny.
tunnel
Yeah.
vision on projects sometimes, It does you kind of have to step back and be like as an audience member, someone that's not close to this
Yeah.
project, like will they understand it?
Well,
Does it
and it's
work?
through those mistakes that you get in touch with like what's important to them, trying to see things from, their side. And that would be a thing that you'd have to learn kind of over time, which is, hey, I completely changed the tone of this creative. Is this something we should make them aware of?
Mm,
Or is this a smaller creative choice that sort of happens on the day?
yeah, it was a series
No.
of those.
It was
Just-
a bunch of those.
It
It's like
all
3,000 small decisions that led us down this path. And we just sent the final as the first pass. There you go. We're all done. Thank you.
Yeah, this is what you want.
You'll like it.
Yeah.
You're gonna like the way
Yeah.
you look.
See how we used we used bush as a metaphor? Do you like that? Huh? That's pretty clever. Huh? Nope.
Oh God, pube jokes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's that
always work.
final 10% too that you spend the most time on in the finishing process once things are sort of set in, and it's not always clear when you should deliver something. For example, on this Punch for Punch series, this Netflix series, I was going to deliver it earlier because I wanted to get ahead of it, and be like, okay, let's give it to them so they can see how like the structure is being established. And Nico, to his credit, said, hey, let's give him like a very polished look
Mhm. Yeah.
at this.
That's a good call.
And obviously, like if we need to change it from there, that is what it is, but let's give them a very polished idea of what the vision is, and obviously not take it that final 5 to 10%, but I'm glad we did it that way. It seems to work out.
Yeah.
Matt, were you confident submitting this? Were you pretty certain that they'd like it?
I liked it a lot. With people that we showed it to, people were liking it. So, but again, it's still this like still kind of up in the air. Like you still don't really know. I don't know these people personally either. So, I don't know what they're going to be looking for, but we talked about it in pre-production. We had a solid plan and we defined that plan to them. So, it was just a matter of like, did we do our due diligence and delivered something that they were expecting? And that seemed like they were.
And for people who maybe are in this situation themselves, like the best thing you can do is just stay creatively honest to yourself, because, you'll go through the process of making it and things will change, or you need to add something or take something out. And if you're sort of creating something completely to somebody else's vision, that's something you're not interested in at all, then a lot of times things get lost, because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't find it interesting, like Matt was saying, like when you delivered it, you felt that it was good.
Yep.
And that has a lot of value kind of throughout the process. Like if it's a concept and you're just not stoked on it, if you're trying to get work under your belt, that's one thing. And that's
Mhm.
kind of the proving ground in the learning area. But, after a time, you want to say, I don't really want to do that style, so I'm not going to do that video.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also like an experience thing. I feel like your quality control gets better over the course of, many years of working with clients and delivering things. So you kind of know,
Yeah.
like, what they would want, just based on how you've been talking and how things have been working in pre-pro.
All right, so hit us with your horror story, Matt. What
Oh,
you
boy.
got?
Gorski, you have anything first?
I mean,
He's like,
I've been
He's
pretty
about to
public
go.
about-
No, this project I just delivered. That's my horror story.
I've been pretty public. I feel like
Yeah.
about my horrors. I have
Well,
no
I haven't heard
I have no
any of
shame
them.
in talking about it.
I haven't heard of any of them.
I mean, geez.
Dude,
I mean, truly, of my lifetime, the biggest horror story was the whole Lifeline shoot with
Yeah?
the YouTube people.
oh,
yeah.
And like, I mean, I've talked about it a bit in the past, but like, it compared to everything else, it is like the ultimate horror story when it comes to just like
House of Horrors.
the just the cluster of like the process and like, yeah, I mean, we shoot this thing and they're editing the script and they're casting people for us and we're not meeting these people, and then the people show up to set and we're like, oh crap, you're the actor for the scene, and like we're like little YouTube guys, so for us, like, maybe, yeah, that's totally normal in the TV industry, but we were really clear up front. We wanted to audition people and figure out this stuff, blah blah blah. But then I guess I'm
They're
kinda
like, yeah, sure,
fast
kid.
forwarding through this. But like the big thing was too, it's like we would edit the stuff. We hired Casey to do the music for it. It was going pretty smooth, and then it turned into this whole like, all right, we're putting down the hammer. We're hiring new editors. We're firing Casey. We're taking total
Oh.
control of this stuff.
No.
You know, we're redoing half the stuff here, and that's basically where Nico and myself were like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we were just like, do we have to be here? And everyone's like, no. It's like, cool.
Oh, that's brutal.
So
Wow, so they just took the reins entirely.
They
yeah,
just
it was
ripped
fine.
your baby from your-
It wasn't even that much of our baby. Well, no, I mean, actually, let me just. This is the true cluster, which is there were 6 scripts for 6 episodes that were approved. I read them. I thought they were cool. We signed the contract to be directors on the project, and then they scrapped the scripts and wrote them from scratch. And we're like,
God.
like what? Like, so wait, hold on. What is this project going to be? And so then it was
Yeah.
like the whole thing got flipped and turned. I think they added episodes. They made it longer. They changed the whole tone of it. It was like basically a completely different show from what we'd like signed a contract and
Wow.
agreed to do.
Wow.
And the contract still, it wasn't null? Like,
No, because
it's
that
fine?
wasn't we didn't
No,
have
yeah,
control over
because
that.
it basically allowed for all that.
Oh.
Wow.
And I mean, I was eager to do it still because I was like, man, I want the experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a good experience from a learning perspective, but it was just like constantly, it was rug pull after rug pull.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
did they cast on your behalf, or they recast without you knowing about it?
No, it was just like zero. It happens, and then we find out who's
On the day they're showing up to set?
3 times.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. That's
Yeah. Oh my
awful.
God.
Yeah, it was just nasty because, like, I mean, once again, in a normal TV show universe, it's totally normal. But this was supposed to be like YouTube creator collaboration. You know, like we're sitting here. It was like everything from us having to call the unions to be like, hey, can we like shoot part of this? We have our own cameras, and they're like, no, you can't touch the cameras. You're directors.
Oh,
And like, what?
Sit in your chair.
Like, we can't have like some exception because this is a YouTube show, and they're like, no. It's like, I mean, it's just this mountain of like little janky, like wacky things, all the way to the fact that like the entire crew basically was just, what's the word? They were very bitter about being there because it was a YouTube show.
Mhm.
YouTube was hiring them,
Oh,
and it's
man.
like, okay, well, is this a YouTube show or not? Because it's not freaking operating one. And
Ugh.
so that's the production that burned me from like the whole
System.
system.
Yeah.
Because it was just like every single time I've worked with a crew that another producer has hired, it's like I feel like everyone just hates me. Like from the day I get to set, I'm just like no matter what happens, it's just like, hi. It's like, cool, you're stupid and you're full of bullshit, and we're not going to listen to you. And everything you're going to request, we will do begrudgingly. There's no like, I don't know.
That feels like a culture thing, though. Honestly, like all the different sets I've been on, there's this pervasive sense of like upset and frustration and anger, like built into so many of these sets. And I'm just thinking, like, everyone chose to be here, right? Like, we all took these jobs. It's just weird. There's like a built-in grumpiness. It
that
doesn't need to be
jadedness.
that way. Yeah, it's like this jaded anger. It gets to you. It really does. Like, even if you go in there with optimism and positivity, in whatever department you're in, like being in an atmosphere like that, it eats at you over time.
I
It's
know.
not-
And like, yeah, it's like, I guess some people can get through that if they have the right personality to like, come back even more aggressive, or something like that. The Michael Bay approach, It's like you're fired as of now. You know, it's like surprise, you're fired. Like that attitude. It's like, I mean, I try and be a little more polite than that. So it doesn't really jive with me.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Well-
it was tough. It came at a tough time too, that project. It came at a time when there was still this pretty big transition happening from traditional to what was still referred to as new media for
Yeah.
the longest time. Like people
Oh,
forget
yeah.
that term, but that was the term. It was like there's TV and then there's movies and then there's new media. And it was like, what's new media? It's everything that's not TV and movies. It's like, okay. And that no one knew quite like how to approach it because
Yeah.
there was only so many people in it. And, you know, when these people would come over from the more traditional areas and things being run and done a certain way, it's just very hard to break that mold.
Yeah, for sure. And it's
Especially
funny
when
'cause
it's
the line's
when
so
it's
blurred
new.
now, you know.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Now it's things are definitely getting better in terms of like where overall the industry is settling. But it's still not quite there. You know, there's still a lot of stigmatisms and things like that out there. But I think by and large, there's been a big shift in terms of the stigmatisms towards non TV and film productions is kind of going by the wayside because people see how valuable it is, and there's more money in it now too. There's more money being spent in digital advertising than in traditional advertising now, and it crossed that threshold, I think 3 years ago.
Were you a producer on this job, Jake?
On Lifeline, no. I think I'm credited as like an associate producer or something, but I had very little involvement.
Oh.
I was
Oh,
doing
man.
all the corridor
Just thinking about
like
more.
YouTube stuff. Well, Sam and
Oh,
Nico
there's
were on,
dude.
were on
You're
set.
just
Just
digging up
terrible.
from the trenches.
I almost don't want to talk about one because it kind of comes off pretty bad of all parties.
I'm
You
okay
mean
now.
Division?
I'm so curious though. Oh man.
Now you have to say it.
No, I don't want to say that.
Okay. All right.
Well, I've got to hope maybe your story aligns with mine, Sam, because I was going to talk about the Division.
Oh, interesting.
And you know that project.
the deep
PTSD
side.
That was
is real
that
in here.
was the never ending. That was the Infinity Project.
Oh,
Dude.
dude.
Division was
it went-
the Infinity Project.
So it was a similar setup because we were approached about it, and when they said, "Hey, we want you guys to do 3 YouTube videos, 3 YouTube short films, sort of just like exposing aspects of the game universe. It'll be really fun. It'll be really cool. You get to use your own sets and crews. You know, here's some money. Have at it." And we were like, "That sounds awesome. Let's do that." And then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna add one more video." And we were like, okay. And I think we were a little too young and dumb at the time to like, you know, go, well, okay, you know, what is that? And are you going to pay more? And da 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 da. No, it was like all under the same terms.
Mm-hmm.
So we agreed to original terms, which is for like 3 videos. And then all the things that got added onto that were still under the same terms of pay and everything else. And that was our fault for not like stopping. But the thing was, is by the time we got far enough along where we realized what was happening, we had already like spent money on it. We had already spent time on it, and we were already like into it, you know? And so there was a little bit of that. But it started off as 3 videos, then they added 4. Then we went out and shot them, and, you know, we were pulling favors like left and right.
Oh, it was
you know,
crazy.
it-
Yeah, because the expectation was like, hey, make some cool YouTube videos. And then basically the balloon just grew and grew and grew to the point where like the expectations were like, all right, you guys, we're almost making a feature film at this point.
Yeah, now
Like-
we want 35
Oh,
minutes
man.
and we're delivering it to Amazon.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so yeah. Oh my god.
And we shot it like a YouTube video, you know,
Yeah.
and we used the money to get like a cool street in downtown St. Paul. We had like military vehicles, we had some sets, we had some cool stuff. But we were still doing it very scrappy, like on YouTube, you know, YouTube money.
Sure.
And then they were like, okay, you know, so we had to cut corners. We had to like shoot one of the videos in the Airbnb that we were staying in, and I had to like, because we didn't have money for a location, and so then I had to ask the landlady if we could shoot in there, and thankfully she was super nice. She was awesome. Our buddy Max like let us film in his design shoe. He has like this high end like shoe and apparel company. He let us film in the shop and like do a ransacked looted scene in his shop without any money in exchange, just for us to like, do a BTS, and in the BTS like show off the shop, interview him, and then like, show what he's about. And they completely cut the BTS from the whole thing. So like all the favors that we had pulled, in terms of like exposure had no value. And then we got it all done and we delivered it, and they're like, great, this is so good. And it's awesome. We want you to add a bunch more scenes to tie the whole world together as one.
Which was not what we agreed to.
No,
these are 4 complete.
not.
It was 3, and then it became the begrudging 4 short films that were all they were very specifically. They are different stories in different places about different people, completely unrelated.
Let's tie them together.
And then they're like,
tie them together.
And so we do all that, and we come back to Los Angeles. We put our cameras down. We pack everything up. Close the shop. We edit them, and then they're like, cool videos. Now you need to turn them all into one piece.
No.
And it's like, what? Like, so we're sitting there like brainstorming, like, how do we, and it's like,
mind you, we're young. We're like 6 figures deep in spend at this point. And this was like when we were running on very small budgets.
Yeah.
And so
I think the first brainstorming session where that was brought up, we all were like, we don't know what I don't know if we're going to do. I don't know what to do. Do you know what to do? No. And so we're like, okay, that's the end of the meeting. Like,
wow.
Could you not just say no to that request? What was what did they have?
The thing is we could have, but there was different things that happened along the way that because we had worked with the people who brought us the project before in the past, and we'd always had good success with them. They were some of the first people that brought us brand integrations, to be honest, and like dedicated videos. And we had always had good luck with them in the past. And we just like got into a situation where things kept changing, but our terms didn't change. And then we had spent so much that we were like, well, we need to finish it so that we can get paid, because even if they just pay us for the work done, that just brings us back to zero, It's like, and now we've put, and then at that point we had put like 6 months into the thing already. And so it was a lot of naivety. It was learning. It was trusting people in ways when it comes to like agreeing to the certain aspects of a project that you shouldn't just, do on handshake deals or verbal agreements, things like that we learned. It was different things along the way where we had to stop and say, look, I know that's what you want, but this is what we can do. We hadn't learned that yet. We hadn't learned like, hey, this is what you want. This is what I'm capable of. So do you want this or do you want that? Because I can't give you that right now unless this, and this happens. We didn't have that sort of, education. And this project honestly educated us in that in a lot of different ways. But at the end of it, we ended up spending a year on it.
Oh God.
And the epitome of the final delivery. So now this had gone all the way up to Ubisoft's like CEO, who had seen the project and was like, yeah, this is so cool. And like, we want to put it out on Amazon. So then they, without our permission, like went out and brokered this separate deal with Amazon. And then the guy who was our direct representative with Ubisoft was like treating us completely like commercial clients. That was another thing. He had come from the commercial world, not from the YouTube and digital ad world. He had come from like the traditional commercial world. And so his rules and expectations were just completely different. There was like no adherence or like, there was nothing given to the fact that we were going to be presenting this on our platforms, and so that was also very different. But the epitome of it all was we went to deliver it to Amazon. They'd send us a spec sheet for delivery. And it's like, okay, cool. Here's your spec sheet for delivery. What's the format? Oh, it's ultra wide. Okay, we have 235, 237, and 239, and you can deliver in these formats. And obviously 237, that's an analog format. That's for film delivery. When you actually shoot something on film, there's a delivery aspect ratio called 237:1, and that's how wide the picture is. And the digital conversion to that is 21:9. It's a very standard digital format. And so I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. Yeah, great. 237. Yeah, we got 21:9. We're good. And they were like, no, 237. And I was like, yeah, 21:9. And they're like, no, like 237. I was like, but it's pixels. The math actually doesn't multiply to that ratio. And they're like, well, you need to make it multiply to that ratio. And I was like,
Oh,
Change math, Jake.
yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, they're not going to accept delivery if you don't deliver it in 237. And I was like, no, they will. It's fine. They're like, no. And then they were so like, just down into the trench of like telling us
also,
what to do.
And also when it came for the Amazon delivery thing too, by the way, the fun, the true joy came. So we do all this stuff. We put it all together. We sent it to Amazon. Obviously he's having this resolution debacle, but the true cream of the crop, the icing is, as he said, we shot outside frequently. There was like lots of scenes in streets. We had cars. We had a scene. We had a scene where we were like, everyone, please bring your car today. We want to make the car just like the street, just like completely full of cars. In fact, we had like 2 or 3 of those scenes. But the point is, we had this one big scene. And so there's like, I don't know, there's like 15 cars on the street or something like that. And they're like, okay, so this huge scene you do in the street with the cars. So since we're Amazon, by the way, we need you to paint out all the license plates of all these cars in the street to go on Amazon. And we're sitting there going, what? Like how?
Oh my
and we're
gosh.
like, oh, this is every shot.
This is every
single
Oh
logo.
This is like every single shot and every single logo and all. It's just like, oh my god.
If you can contextualize, how much time are we talking about to do this?
It was a 15-minute. It's like a 12 or 15-minute finished piece, and about 7 of that is this action scene in a street
with these cars.
So it's just 7 minutes of pure license plate.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
and
bad.
we had asked them going into that. We were like, hey, look, we know that Amazon delivery is like, at that point, it was a concept that they had like bounced off of us. It was not official. We were like, look, like, is that going to be a problem? Because we can Greek all these logos right now and it'll save us, a ton.
Yeah,
right?
obviously,
and
but
like,
the person we're asking
you're
is completely unqualified, obviously.
right, totally unqualified, because these decisions came much later on from people much higher up.
Yeah, and the people we're talking to are, in marketing departments and know nothing about like releasing on platforms and filmmaking and like the
concept,
the procedure, and can I blame them?
You can
a little bit, but ultimately it really just keeps circling back to the naivety thing of like we make this and then we make it again and then we make it again and then we make it again, and the whole time through it's not like, hey, can we have any help with this? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So in that situation again, when you asked the question about the license plates, how would you handle that differently now?
I would ignore them. I wouldn't ask
just
the
ignore
question.
them. Just assume it's going to be a pain out, or
well, I would say
actually, there's 2 answers to that question. Answer 1 is I would have had the conversation earlier about where this is going to be released and make sure that's much more firmly planted. And so that if it comes up again, it would be like, hey, can you release it on Amazon and paint out the license plates? It would be no.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not doing that.
Yes. Right.
That's the true answer. If there had been talks already about releasing it on a platform before that point in time, I would have just like taped them up or something.
Yeah. And those are the most heartbreaking VFX too, because it takes so long and the result is the exact same shot.
The exact same shot.
It's like,
Ren had to do a shot. Where we had true special effects on set. We popped a taxi windshield and all this glass comes raining down in front of the logo on the door. And Ren had to get rid of all that actual practical glass, which looked so cool, and then put a fake logo over the other one and then replace all the glass. Yeah. And
hurts to
so
hear.
that's
It's brutal.
yeah, and so I would have done the same thing as Sam said. Like you make the decision early on, and if somehow the fundamentals, you got to know what the fundamentals are. The fundamentals are like, what are we delivering, and where is it going? And those, what are we delivering comes down to like, okay, it's 3 episodes, it's this tone, this is the style, these are what the stories are, and this is where it's going. If any of that changes, you now need to change terms completely. And we didn't do that. And then the other thing was, once we got down later, when you're on set and you're in that decision, it's like, well, you have 2 options. You either Greek everything on set right then and there, or you leave it as is. And then when it gets to post and they say, okay, we're going to send it to this other place that we didn't agree to at the time you shot it, you go, okay, well, either no, or we're going to need money to do that. And those are your only options. It's not okay, we'll do it.
It's fun. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because as a VFX supervisor, those were my 2 go-to answers as well. When producers would approach me about changes to the creative, it was always either no, because normally I would do the back-end VFX work as well, or my favorite was always saying yes, but it will cost more. And more often than not, that was enough of a deterrent to the creative change, which kind of showed how important it was to them in the first place, which is always interesting. So,
So then we get to this delivery, which I haven't finished the story quite yet. So what I had to do on the day of final delivery, I had to take the final export, which I believe Nick did the final export. I took that final file, I brought it back into Premiere, and I put black bars on the top and bottom. I remember this still to this day. It was 3 pixels on the top and it was 4 pixels on the bottom.
Wow.
And then I re-delivered it.
gosh,
It was
those pixels.
Yep. Thank God for those pixels.
Yeah, there's no way it would have ever played anywhere. It would have been incompatible with all screens everywhere without those pixels.
In fact, now it's probably less compatible.
Yeah, probably.
Because of that
because
change.
20 they don't make 237 monitors, but 237, by the way, is like a figment of your imagination. Like, there's no screens are 21:9. Like that aspect ratio is real. Wait, hold on.
Unless you're literally watching it projected onto a screen, in which case you can actually truly watch 237.
Ugh.
Yeah.
you doing the math?
But if you're actually watching it on a digital display, it cannot display in that. Because it goes to quarter and half. It goes to fractioned pixels.
I was wrong. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm 21:9. It's the other way around. I just realized. That's why I had to stop myself. I was like, wait a second. I already did the math earlier. 21:9 is unfortunately not real. I don't know who says 21:9, but 237 is real.
237 is real.
Sorry, 237. So when you see a monitor advertised as 21:9, it might not be. Just saying.
Fake news.
But that being
in a
said,
world of lies.
237 is real.
Wait, well, doesn't it actually have to... Okay. I don't know. I don't know about this.
21:9 and 237 are different. So I'm just going to take that pain point and validate it really quickly.
So wait, see, this is the use of the word pain point. Oh my God.
A pain point.
It's like
pain
forever.
point. We talk about pain points here and there. Let me just
burned into my lexicon as like a post-traumatic stress trigger
so every
word.
once in a while, if like we get like a little brief or something on someone who wants to do a sponsorship on a video, or we're working with a company, occasionally they'll send a list of pain points. And usually the pain points are like hilarious things, like let's say I'm just gonna make up a fictional situation. A laptop company recently had a laptop explode and it burned some child's fingers. So they would list a pain point as showing images of fire.
Yes. It's rule, boo.
Yes. Showing anyone under the age of 12 using our devices.
Showing burnt fingers.
Showing yes, yeah.
Toasted
fingers with a gray value that is less than 30%.
Yes, these are real. These are real things.
Like the corporate pain points of like, so we did something very bad, and we would like to avoid these. This is how we would like to avoid
ever talking about it.
Reminding anyone that this ever happened.
We're sorry.
Yes.
Right.
We're sorry.
Pain point.
Sorry.
It's like,
Dude, the-
geez, this is
dude,
how
the
corporate
Chinese-
America
ancient
works.
Chinese
I
pain
wonder what's
points,
wrong
dude.
with society.
You
This
walk
is
up
how
to someone
corporate
and you
America
mention
works.
like 3 pain points
Three.
to them, and they go like,
They literally like their back breaks and they crumple
yeah,
and all of their bones dissolve if you mention
Yeah.
too many pain points.
Oh, we have a friend.
Yeah.
A real crumply
dude,
boy.
yeah. Oh man,
So yeah. So
Sounds-
that's my horror story. And
Really
after
brutal,
that,
son.
we learned our lesson. We said, okay, all right, we'll do this type of work again if certain parameters apply. And I think that's to this day, that's why the punch for punch first delivery
Yep.
went well, because when they came to us, I was like, look, we don't
Yeah.
really do this type of work
Yeah.
anymore. You know, like if you want us to do this work, first of all, it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be cheap, and we're going to do it our way. If you're
Mhm.
not comfortable with those things, then I appreciate your time, but we're not the
Mhm.
people for you. And that's like
Yeah.
the first thing that I told them. And they
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
no, that's why we want you guys, is because you have this style and tone that we think would be perfect for this idea. And it's like, okay, well then great. Then the next step is we'll come up with the ideas and send them to you for approval.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like super important too, because like especially like in this type of relationship where you're doing it remotely and it's just like emails or messages and stuff like that, like the creativity top to bottom is happening in literally like basically a different world, you know, like
Mhm.
everything is happening. And then to deliver like creative notes on that kind of stuff where it's just like make a film and then show it to me a year from now and I'll tell you what changed. You know, it's like what is that? Like
I'll know it when I see it.
it's like we're not
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
payroll, you know? Like we're not on a payroll here. It's like we just yeah. So
Right.
it's like it would be different if like we're like literally working in the Netflix studio for a year.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
things could
Right.
move around, but like yeah.
Yeah, any
So we
contract
just-
work like that, it really just there's no such thing as over communication. That's one thing that took me a
Right.
little too long to learn. But once you learn it, it's like no, you cannot over communicate. Every
Yeah.
question, every clarification, like get it down. Preferably for me, get it down on paper, on email. Get it down where you can allude to it later in the future. Just protect yourself by over communicating as much as possible.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. No, totally.
Although
And
yeah. I almost want it's maybe a little too recent.
Yeah.
No, but you're talking about the Black Rifle Coffee guys, and so
Yeah.
like I love working with those. They're super
Yeah,
fun
they're
to
fun.
shoot with. I love filming all the stuff with them. It's always a hoot.
yeah.
But it was really funny last year with the commercial because
Mhm.
we made this commercial with them at Bass Pro Shops. We were all amped to do it. We had a script. We made storyboards for the entire thing.
Yep.
You know, we
Yeah.
went through every we basically was like, yeah, here's the whole thing. It's probably going to be about like 3 or 4 minutes long, and here's the deal. And the only mistake we made was we sent a rough cut.
Yep. There you go.
When
Yep.
with working with those guys, like their filmmaking approach is generally like, you know, they're adding more bells and whistles on their stuff right now and doing more, you know, cinema, VFX, blah blah blah. But you know, at that point in time, it was still very much like a, you know, you can do half the effects in Premiere kind of video.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when we sent them the rough cut, we were like, oh yeah, of course, like we know. Oh yeah, we'll put some final sound and music and put a ton of VFX in there.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to like
Yeah.
get a feeling of this. But we sent it and like, you know, the response from Evan was like, what the fuck is this shit? I think he put it somehow like that. It was one of those like
Yeah.
blunt,
No, he
like,
said it hurt. He said it hurt his eyes to look at.
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, obviously we went through a ton of revisions after that, and I was like, you know, I want to make them happy. I want to make this go well because it's fun working with them.
Yeah.
But it was very much a shocker
Yep.
after
Yeah.
like storyboarding the thing and like having it all like very well planned out.
Yeah.
And
It's just like those the VFX goggles weren't on.
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
so-
Evan's not a film guy. He's not a video guy. Like
Yeah.
he's been in a ton of videos, but he's a coffee guy. That's what he knows. He doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
know. You can't send him a draft and go like, yeah, and there'll be a bunch of cool visual effects and sound design, and this will be
Mhm.
smoothed out, and that'll look better, and we'll put some color on that. Like, no, he just looks at it and goes, "What the fuck is this?"
yeah, I mean, so I immediately took the edit and I was like, all right, I'm doing sound design right now. I'm just like doing
Yeah.
as much as I possibly
saw you.
can to
Yeah.
like just bring it to that 90% quality mark as
Mhm.
fast as possible.
Mhm.
And then then we went through a bunch of revisions on it. But yeah, it was a learning
There was
experience.
one other mistake we made with that video, which is in order to film in that Bass Pro Shop, we had to agree to, this was still like height of the pandemic. And so Bass Pro Shop obviously was like, hey, we don't want to show crowds. And the whole pitch originally was like, look, this is a Black Friday sale and there's a crowd out front.
Right.
Yeah, it's
and
a
then
Black
the crowd
Friday sale
turns
with a
in
lot of people.
and the crowd turns into a mob and it turns into a massive fight scene for the coffee.
Yeah.
That was
yeah,
the
it was
pitch.
supposed to be the shot of like all the people on Black Friday like going underneath the gate that's only like a foot open and bursting.
Yep.
That was like the original idea, and then it eventually whittled down to like, no, it can't be that. No, it maybe shouldn't be that. And then so we ended up kind of filming the same concept but with no people, and so it's like, this is just a little weird now.
And we didn't quite have the budget to do a recreated department store, because it was the whole idea was like, we are going to destroy the department store. Yeah. Like but then it was like, oh, well, we'd have to recreate the whole store, like in order to do that. And so there was a couple creative mistakes there that we should have identified before going into it, but
it's like everything's changed, but we're still making the same script.
Yeah.
Different everything else. And whatever.
Yeah. So, yep. No, and it's never a perfect process. That's for sure.
No.
I think, I mean, the big lesson is like, I feel like too, not to be like an asshole about stuff and being so stern at the forefront of a project that it can never get done. It's all about like having that fluidity to like get the ball rolling. It's like because that's the only way you can get the ball rolling. If it's like, everything has to be this way and I won't do a project unless I have everything like this. And I get my muffins at 7 a.m. And like
that is important.
And you're gonna tie my shoes for me every time I get to set. It's like you don't want to enter in with that attitude of like, I'm so protected. Like I think you want the play loose, like nature, so that way like the project can start. But it's important to like after now it's started to like just try and like fall into like a pattern of like the yeses and the nos, because like that's what keeps it from spiraling out of control. But like if you were entering the project with that like, no, I refuse to do this, it's like, then good luck getting it.
You're not going to get very much work that way.
Yeah.
And it was like it was a rough time to be filming stuff when we shot that coffee bit, and so there was a lot of factors that were new to people. And
dude, it was so chill though.
The store manager was super cool thing, too. Like,
it's like, here we are, mid 2020. Whatever, we're on a film set. Who gives a shit?
That was the big thing. Is like COVID times that like really changed the script a lot. So that was like a huge impact.
It kind of did, but it really didn't affect our shoot at all, because like I knew other people who were doing shoots at the time, and it was like, okay, so we need to have like 3 COVID monitors that monitor people going in and out, and we're going to be doing COVID tests every single day and like there's like a whole nother level of operation that like we kind of skipped because we were just doing
we were able to get by with a lot of different aspects that we probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Our production manager, she was she was great. She was super detailed, but she was like very worried about that. She was very worried about that.
I mean,
I had to talk her off the ledge a few times. I was like, it's okay. It's going to be fine. No, and the store was super cool. I like that guy that manages that store basically had the right to say yes or no to that whole shoot. And he was so generous and just awesome the whole time.
It was chill.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't think there's anywhere else to hide, Matt.
Oh, Jesus.
I think you're up.
All right.
Cap,
this is probably going to end our podcast too, which is very
send us out
disappointing. Y'all, it seems like y'all's stories, like you learned something from your stories, and like there was a personal growth. I had none of those things in this story. Okay, so first of all, I was in my like early 20s. I was like 22, 23. I was just getting the ball rolling in Florida, making films in Florida. And I was hired on to do this project that was like, it was really good money, and it was like gonna be over the course of like a year, doing a bunch of these like TV ads, like local TV ads for this anti-bullying campaign, right?
Oh no.
And this
Oh man, what a cause.
this woman, it was
God.
a good cause. It was a good you don't want bullies.
You had that government contract, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
Well,
no bullies were allowed during the process of making this, I can
no
assume.
bullies. No bullies here. Well, there was the lady that hired me. She was like in her 50s or so, right? And she kind of there's something like a little bit off about her, but I don't know. When I agreed to it, I really needed the money at that time, so it was really like, hell yeah, I'll sign on for this. The whole year of this really good money and this good contract that we have. So we get into the first campaign, right? The first like 30-second spot that's going to go on, and I finish it. And she loves it, right? She's the head of this anti-bullying campaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we go into final delivery on it, and she actually comes over to my place to kind of do a little review session, finalize it. Cool, it's good to go. I deliver it to her. She makes, she pays me on the spot too, which is, oh great, wow, money in my hand.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Cash?
yeah, cold hard cash.
Coins.
No, like a check. A check, yeah.
She brought over a 5-gallon bucket.
I was like,
full of
I'm
pennies.
trying to look for the warning signs.
She has a basket of
Guys,
coins.
see if you can spot the warning signs, listener.
All right.
So I show her to my door, right? And she's about to walk away, and then she turns around,
Oh no.
makes direct eye contact with me, and then reaches down and grabs both of my testicles and makes direct eye contact with me while she does it. And it felt like an eternity. Those couple of seconds where she just complete 180s from professionalism to grabbing both of my testicles. I was absolutely frozen in place. I couldn't break eye contact either, by the way. I was just I was staring into her eyes.
Jesus
she was
Christ.
staring back at mine, and she finally releases her clench from my testicles, and she simply says, "You got a lot of junk in the trunk."
No, Matt.
And then she walks
Dude.
away.
Out of all for the anti-bullying campaign,
Which doesn't make sense,
Of
by
all
the way.
campaigns.
Junk in the trunk doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
That's not where the trunk is.
on a but in a Tesla it is.
Damn,
You're ahead of your time.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So maybe to her that wasn't bullying because she was giving you a compliment. It's just like, this is fine. That's
Matt,
No, it's not
crazy.
bullying.
Matt.
It's just sexual harassment,
Yeah.
sexual
So,
assault.
Is this the end
Actually,
of the story?
Mm.
Because I believe there's more spots you had to do.
Yes, there was. I took a step back for a second after that moment and was like, I can't work with her, right? I'm not gonna do this.
So you didn't say anything. She walked away.
No,
and you
no.
were just
She
stunned silent.
she says that, and then she just walks away, and I'm just frozen in place. So I can't really I can't do I'm not doing
What can
anything.
you
I'm
do?
just like, but I didn't have to work with her directly on like the actual videos. So I was just like, I really needed the money.
Damn, son.
So I
A
was
man
just
of the
like-
night.
and it was like such a good opportunity for the
Man
money.
of the night.
And I was just like, I gotta see if maybe we just don't like go show up or do anything, or like I don't see her again and just do the things. So I did another one, and she actually shows up on set while we're filming. And it's already like super weird already and stuff. And so like we wrap that day out, and she's like, "Oh, this is so awesome that you're doing this." It's just me and her talking, and it's so weird. This is like in the parking lot. And then
No.
Does the fingers come out?
Your hand's going?
she brings her hand out of her pocket, and her fingers start trembling. And once again, she reaches down and tries to grab him. She does it again. But I swear to God, she's acting super normally up until this point, like And I thought, I was like, maybe this was a fever dream before. Maybe we'll just forget this and let bygones be bygones here. Maybe she just wanted a little piece of me.
No.
And she goes down and grabs again. I back away. I'm like, don't ever do that again. And I don't want to work with you again. I'm sorry. This is not going to happen. We need to break all this, like the contract. And we gotta figure out how to end this right now. I can't like continue with this.
What did she say?
Man.
And she was like taken aback, like it was weird that I said something.
Of course.
She was like, like
Someone who does
she was
that,
in
of
shock, like, oh wow, I'm sorry.
It's in the contract, Matt.
Yeah,
It's in the contract.
You didn't read that.
In the contract.
You clearly didn't
Man,
read
I'm
the
sorry
contract.
you had to go through that, bro.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I will never forget that. It's really
I'm
like
sure you won't.
Probably not.
that's
Yeah,
not
that's
something that you
don't-
forget. Oh boy.
That is wild.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Luckily, at that point, I had enough of a brain to be like, "That's."
You had enough junk in the trunk to
That's
say,
I had enough junk in this
Enough
just
junk in the
here.
trunk
to walk away.
upstairs trunk.
in the upstairs trunk. That's what really matters.
The old
junk in
Tesla
the
trunk.
upstairs
The old
trunk.
Tesla
Yeah.
trunk. Yeah.
Oh my
Lord.
gosh, Matt, that is so much more extreme than I expected.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
far more extreme than I thought it was just gonna.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like that was weird.
We're here. I'm here talking about pixels.
I'm trying to think
What
through
are
it
you
all.
thinking?
You know, you must have just drove home in silence, just thinking through that. Like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But you had how many more
what
did
do
you
you
have
say?
to do? How many more?
Oh no, I did none more.
But
I did
was there
none more
technically like
after-
two more on the contract?
Oh, there was like 10.
And you just
Yeah.
said,
At
Matt,
that point, I was just like, we gotta.
Did you tell
Yeah.
anybody why you were leaving the job, or was it just your
Oh, I
relationship
told
with her?
the people I worked with, definitely. Yeah.
I gotta go.
I was like, look, this lady, don't work with her, please. Like,
Oh my gosh. I just love that at the end of the conversation, she took her hand out of her pocket. Like, okay, now it's that
Well, that
time.
was-
It's that
She takes it out, like,
all right, well,
warms it up, like cracks her
all
knuckles.
right,
Yeah.
time for some grabbing.
The old grabbing hand.
Oh, man.
Oh my god,
She's
that's so
gone
Now that we're
down.
off the
Pants.
clock, huh?
She protects
my
her hand
gosh.
from.
that is surreal.
Yeah, it's real,
Yeah.
guys. That's so.
You got to
That
watch out for
I,
those folks too.
Yeah,
Like I said,
seriously.
didn't learn a thing from that.
Well, at least you managed to dodge it the second time.
I did well, yeah. I
Oh,
did
like-
dodge it. She grabbed like the tip.
Oh,
She got like the tip.
Oh, just
Yeah,
She
she just like
snipped ya.
snatched the.
one,
She
like
grabbed
one
ya.
fingernail, like kind of a little
Yeah.
drag.
That is, it's like,
That's
It
a
almost
closer.
feels like you can't do
that's
anything.
Quite a closer. Yeah. No.
it almost feels like you
wow.
can't do anything but laugh because
I
it's
thought
so
that-
surreal.
You can
the
just
way that you
laugh
brought
at
it up,
at this point.
it sounded like the story was going to be worse. I mean, that's a high closer. We're done here, boys.
Yeah, that's
Jesus Christ, dude.
no one can follow that.
No,
Truly.
no. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
man.
Stay on your toes. That's the
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, I have been for the rest of my life.
And,
I'll be on my toes.
I'm not talking about being nimble. I'm just saying if you need to go tiptoe
Yeah.
briefly to avoid
so, just so she goes under the legs.
just so like it creates that like 4-inch gap.
That could
for
backfire
for
on me
for
though.
that-
She could
for
grab the
hand
taint or
to, like-
something.
She's like
She accidentally grabs the
Oh
taint
my
or the
god!
tree.
It goes out through and then back.
Yeah, it could be worse
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
Well, it's okay.
Wow.
It's just like a class 3 felony. It's okay.
Yeah,
That's
seriously,
crazy.
like that's like
So
rapey.
messed
It's
up, man.
really-
It's so man. That
Yeah,
is
it is. But you know, at least we have
It's
the
fun.
comfort of being able to laugh it off. at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
sorry.
God.
Speaking for you.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm clearly laughing about it.
Okay.
It's-
next
yeah.
time on the Corridor Cast, Jordan's going to explain how he got stuck in Canada. So stay
Oh,
tuned
yeah,
for that.
There
that's
you
a
go.
whole other story.
not
Oh,
quite
boy.
as
It's a whole
not
nother
quite as
story.
horrible.
Yeah.
Trapped.
Everybody kept their hands in their pockets on that trip though, so I'm
Well, I
I'm
don't
good
know.
in
You
that
were there with your
department.
girlfriend, so I don't know, buddy.
Stranded. Stranded in the northern territories
Oh,
alone.
yes.
Goodness gracious.
Oh,
He was
Alone.
banished to the north.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm
All
sorry,
right.
man. Wow.
It's okay,
That
buddy.
is-
It's all right.
Keep your head on a swivel out there, people. I'm gonna play
Stay on
us
your
out.
toes.
I would love some music from my sweet boy, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Your
give him
sweet boy
whatever he
Merle.
wants
My
today.
my burns are burning.
It's your day today. You get whatever you want. In solidarity, I'm gonna just
Chinese pain
put
points.
my hands in.
Keep those hands in those
Yeah, put
pockets,
my hands in
son.
my pockets.
Put your hands
Dude,
in
I
your
need
pockets.
people-
Watch
Ancient Chinese.
out
Show of
who
respect.
you work with. You never know. They might throw a note at you, or they might do something else. They might throw a note at you, or have you work it out. But watch out who you work with.
The old crab clap.
You'll clasp your hands.
See you guys later. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Oh man.